Hello and welcome to another tutorial in From the Depths. This one's on basic ship hull design. One of the things I want to go over before we jump into building this hull is the two different approaches that players will take to designing a ship. And one of the ways I like to do is to design the guts first, design the turrets, the weapons, the vehicles, the components, and then shape your hull around those components. The other way, the way we're going to do it in this video, is players will create or shape their hull first, and then they'll design the components and place them in later after the hull's been made. Now, either way is just as good. There's no right or wrong way, and it's completely based off preference. I like to do the hull first for ships, and then do the components first for anything that's flying, airships and planes. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into building our hull. So right away, I'm going to go in and I'm going to mirror mode left and right, and I'm going to go pretty fast through this, so you can go ahead and pause and rewind if you need to. The first thing I do is I build the bottom of my ship, and I base that off of an idea I have for what I want for my turrets, the width of my turret plus the armor, and then what kind of thickness I want on the exterior of my hull. So in this case, I'm going to do a 7-meter wide interior, 1, 3, 5, 7, and then a 1-meter exterior hull. And I'll do the exterior hull on the bottom by doing an upslope. And then I'll work my way forward towards the bow like this. So I'll do a 4-meter and then an inverted 4-meter beam on the sides, sloping up from the front. And then I'm going to move to a 3-meter and do the same. And then I'll do another 3-meter and do the same. And then when I get to the last block, I'll do an upslope, 2-meter upslope beam like this. Now, real quick to point out, I have an odd number of meters on the width of this ship, because the turrets in this game are all odd numbers. And in order to center your turret on your ship, you will need to build an odd width on your vehicles. You don't need to, but if you want to center your turrets, that is one requirement then. So now on the sides, I take these triangle corners, so the 2-meter in the front here, work my way up to the 3-meter, and then the 4-meter. Just to even out that slope. And you can see now this is what the bottom of my bow is going to look like on my ship. Next, I'll move to the new transitions. Now these transition blocks are in the dev test version right now, and they're coming out for the stable release in the future. If you want to get your hands on these transition blocks right now, you'll have to go to the properties of your Steam login and go to From the Depths and download the dev test version of the game. Now, when I'm using these new transitions, I like these 2-meter offset blocks, 3-meter and 4-meter offset, because what they can do is if you go up the side like this, and then you offset it by 1, you end up with a nice, even, smooth slope going down. And even as you transition into the next block, so my 3-meter, they'll overlap by 1, and there'll be no jagged edges across your bow. So I love these blocks for this hull design, and this is a great way to start designing your hulls. So I'm going to do this for all of my blocks along the side, overlapping by 1, offsetting by 1, until I get up to where I'm happy with this part of the bow. And then I'll go ahead and build up the back. And these ones I'm just going to fill in. You can stagger these if you like, the 4-meter blocks. The 4-meter blocks do give a health bonus. But in this case, I like to prefab this part so I can extend it out, and this just makes it easier for me. You can do it however you like. On the next part, once I get near the height I like, I'm gonna go into the 2-meter to 4-meter slope transition, and I'll put that in here And then I'm going to go back to the regular slopes and go along the side like this. And I'll just match it to the slope from the transition blocks. And then I'll go ahead and build up the side here. I'm going to do it one more time. And then this is the 4 meter for the front. And you end up with a hull that looks like this. Now we still have the center to do for the bow, and that's simple just by going into these 2 meter beams and stepping up along the inside like this, and then the top will do a 4 meter to match. And then in here we'll smooth out these transitions with the slopes like so. I'll do a 2 meter slope here at the top like that. And one of the fun things you can do for these like age of sail type ships is to put the front beam in like this, and you get that fun age of sail sort of aesthetic. And then I'm going to go to the back here, and I'll use the prefab mode here like this. Click on it and you'll get a block that looks like this. This just means that anything inside the block you can copy and paste, and you can middle mouse click to control the width and the height. And if you press F3, you can use the keyboard controls to move it where you want it and get it to what you want to copy like this, and then just left click to copy and then left click again to paste. And I'll do this for the width for the length that I want the ship. So let's do something like this. This should work. For a small ship, this will be fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and slope the back. Now the way I do it, there's probably better ways out there, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to go up with a 2 meter and do the triangle here. I'll fill this in like this. And then I'll do another 2 meter up the triangle, and then here is that inverted to smooth out that angle. I'll do it again here and then fill this in one more time. And then now I'm going to do a 3 meter slope out. And the 3 meter triangle here. So you get a shape kind of like this. And then I'll fill in the side. And this part, I'll just rotate this 3 meter block and go up. And then I'm going to fill in the back like this. So you end up with that sort of shape, and then I can do another one if I want with a steeper angle. Get the slope block to go in there like this. And there we go. So there's a really basic hull shape. And depending on the type of propulsion you want to use, you can clean this out here. And I like to put in, if you're not using steam, you can put in your own sort of shafts by doing the blocks, choosing either metal or alloy poles. I'm going to put a 3 meter pole in here, and then I'll put these propellers on the back like this. So there we go. So we have our shafts and our propellers sticking out the bottom, and I can fill in the inside like this. And then all you need now is a rudder. And there's one rudder you can use, the built-in rudder here. Just make sure it's facing forward. And that works. There's another type of rudder you can do. Inside sub-objects, you'll need a spin block. When you place this, you just have to make sure that the arrow's facing forward. It doesn't, I mean, you can change the settings if you faced it the wrong way, but this is in the case you want to face it forward. And when you place it, it'll put you into sub-object mode. And so now you're building on this sub-object, the spinner. I can't build on the ship. And if I want to go back and forth between the sub-object and the ship, I just use the square brackets. Left square bracket will take me to the ship build mode, so I can build on the ship again. And then the right square bracket will take me back to the sub-object. If you have more than one, you'll have to press it several times to get to the sub-object that you're on, that you want to build on. So now I'm just going to build the rudder using the built-in, or the custom rudder blocks. And you can build this however you like. I'm just going to make a real simple one like so. Like that. Go back to the ship build mode. And there we go. We have it. So there's our very basic hull shape. And I'll place it in the water. It's made completely of wood and there's no components, so it's going to float no problem. We can test this real quick by, let's go ahead and place some, just to place some weight in it, I'll put some metal at the bottom, and then I'll put a controller in here. Let's put a chair and a ship controller. And then I'm going to need some power, so let's put an RTG and some batteries and an electric engine. So now we have power and we can control this. So let's go out of build mode and sit inside our ship at the wheel and give it a test. So I click forward and get the main drive going, and a right turn on, oh, we got to set the settings on our rudder. So go into the spin block, and the Q menu will take you to angle control. And here you want to go to yaw, and you'll just do an offset of 20, 25, depending on how sharp you want it to turn. Sharper is a higher number, and less control authority would be a lower number. So now if we test this out, we should be able to turn left and right. Here we go, turning right and turning left. So there we go. So that's a basic hull ship design, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.